Hey there everyone, it's Cookie Kazi here and I've got a brand new gacha game to review for you guys. If you all watch my streams, you know that I love a great tactical game. One that makes you think, one that makes you strategize as to how and why you do certain things. Ash Echoes is a brand new hidden gem that I didn't expect to enjoy. It is a real-time strategy role-playing game that is available on App Store, Google Play, and even on Steam. If you're in Southeast Asia, you'll be under the publisher of Noctua, and if you're in the global server, you'll be under Neocraft. Do note that the Steam version is only available for Neocraft, and if let's say you're in different regions, Southeast Asia or global, you will automatically be downloading the version that is via the different publishers. So for those of you like me in Singapore, I will immediately get the Noctua version that is available in Southeast Asia. There's no Steam version for the Southeast Asian players, so if you'd like to play it on PC or on mobile, no matter the region that you are, there's a download link in the description and the pinned comment of this video. Originally, I thought that I was just gonna play this game for a day or a week and have it one and done. But it turns out that I've been playing it since launch because there's quite a few interesting things that got me hooked in the game, wanting to find out more about what it has to offer. So this video will compile the list of things that I like about the game. It won't exactly explain everything as to how it works because if I were to do that, it does take quite some time. There's actually so much content in this game that is an entire sort of guide video of itself. So instead, I will just talk about the great features that it has. There are 4 main areas that I like to cover: the visuals, gacha, gameplay, and character progression. Starting off with the visuals, the settings that you can choose are very impressive. You want to uncap your FPS, you're able to do so. If you want to have high quality settings or resolution, those are available for you. And if you have a device that's capable of handling ray tracing or DLSS, you can also enable those. It's very impressive to see this from a new game and also from a very new developer. Also, there's some benefits for those of you playing in the Southeast Asian server. If you're someone who speaks Thai, Bahasa Indonesia, or Chinese, you can actually enable those languages within the settings. Perfect for the localization of this game. And there are also smaller app sizes, so the game is about 5GB if you're playing on iOS or Android, and only just 10GB despite the fact that there's all those wonderful visual settings. Also, you get cheaper prices if you were to play in the Southeast Asian server. That's if you're buying any of the packs in the game. Anyways, still focusing on the visual aspects of the game, the character animations have been some of the biggest joy that I have in the game. A lot of them are just so unique and beautiful in their own ways, and at the same time you have this thing called the trace arts. So traces are something that you can use to attach to your teams, we'll talk about that later, but some of them also have wonderful visuals. You can basically have your home screen using the 3D models of the characters that you like, or if not, you can run the 2D art which is in the form of the traces. So I have this trace set up on my screen just to scare everyone whenever I start my stream. We'll mention gacha in a short while, but this game does feature double banners. It comes in the form of characters and traces. Traces might be thought of like weapons, where in other games, weapons are the swords and the guns that you can attach to a character. But in the case of this game, traces are not just meant for a singular character, but instead for the entire team synergy. We'll explain in just a bit as to how that works. So instead of being weapons, they are artworks. For SR and below, they are non-animated artworks, and for SSR, they are animated artworks that you can enjoy. So not only can you use that for your teams, you can also set that as the background of your main screen, your chat screen, or if not, your profile image, which is, I think, a very splendid way of enjoying what you've collected in the game. There's a lot of traces that are available, and this is something that makes me a lot more keen when it comes to collecting things within the game. Okay, so let's talk about the gacha. As much as there's double banners in this game, which is something I don't particularly enjoy, there are great gacha elements that help to alleviate this issue. First off, there are guarantee systems in the game. If you lose your 50-50 for a 6-star early on, that means you don't get the featured unit, you're guaranteed to get the unit in the next 6-star pool that you get. So that's something that you see a lot in the Hoyoverse games. Then, there is also a 300 pool feature. Once you've completed a total of 300 pools, you're free to select any 6-star that you want, whether it's the memory trace or the unit, which is also another wonderful feature. And finally, the gacha rates in this game is pretty generous, at least on the better side. It's 1.2% to get a 6-star, 7% in order to get a 5-star, and then the remainder of the probability are for the lowest rarity. So it's rare and those are 4 stars. In a way, I would say that this is a pretty good rate, and in terms of the hard pity that you can get, that will happen within pool 60 to 70. So at 70 pools, you're guaranteed to get a 6-star basically within the game. So pretty nice gacha, and it's also coupled together with wonderful gameplay. The gameplay is definitely what attracted me the most about this game because of the tactical elements that it has. If you're someone who loves to strategize before the battle, during the battle, there is so much room for that. You can choose what characters that you want to enter with in the stage. The team size is a total of 8, but during the stage itself, you can only run 4 people at a time. Then, you basically need to toggle as to the skills that you want to use, the ultimates, and at the same time, where to position your units. It's a very fluid gameplay where your units are not stationary, and rather with all the enemies coming in from different directions, you need to consider repositioning your units so as to avoid attacks, to use their skill optimally, and at the same time to synergize together with everybody that you have. It is interesting as to how the game has limited skill users per character. At first it appears clunky, but after a while it seems like a feature where you need to manage the skill users very well, time it properly, and not go spamming it all throughout the stage, which I think is very good for any of you who likes to think within the game. And at the same time, you can switch out your characters at any point. So as much as you run a team of 8, during the stage itself you can only have a team of 4. But if you want to switch out to another character, maybe because they have skill users available, or you think in this moment there's some better synergy, you can actually do just that. So I really like the fact that there's so much strategy involved within the game, and there's a lot of room for creativity in terms of what teams you want to bring to every single stage. In a way, there's quite a lot of ways to show off the builds that you already have in the game. So you might already be running a lot of games in the background, which makes Ash Echoes a little bit tricky to pick up. But the good thing about Ash Echoes is they already made it very minimal effort in terms of playing the game. So they do a sweet feature where if you've already completed a stage that needs you to farm for materials, all you need to do is just have that stage cleared, and then afterwards set the amount that you want to play it for, and instantly it will just give you the materials, which makes farming every single day very fast. In terms of playing new stages as well, if you have a good enough team, you can actually run auto, which is decent in terms of activating skills and repositioning your units, but don't expect auto deploy to always work. It doesn't function, especially when you have stages with a lot of elite enemies or stages with bosses, which those needs your attention. But it's good because the easier stages, you can basically just run auto, let it just do its own thing while you focus on your work or other games that you have in mind. So in terms of the ease of playing, I really do enjoy that there is the option for you to be active, and there's also the option for you to be passive. The final thing to mention is the character progression in this game, which is very special in its own way, making it such a worthwhile game to try. So as we've mentioned, there's the traces, which is not meant for just a singular character, but instead for your entire team. So whenever you run a certain stage, you basically need to attach a tactical engraving into your team. So apart from the 8 people that you have, tactical engraving is something that boosts your entire team, giving them increased stats as well as new skills that your teams can enjoy. The way for you to get tactical engraving is by this feature called the Nexus. So the Nexus needs you to set a certain leader, any of your units that you have, and then run the stages with 6 traces. All the traces are attached with a main skill, and at the same time they also have side skills which are unlockable within the Nexus. So whenever you run through the Nexus, you gain the skill points. When you've completed it, at the very end, you can use those skill points to purchase unique skills that are for your team. It sounds very confusing at first. Like I said, it does need some kind of guide or tutorial in order for you to understand better. But this unique way of team building, where you can choose the skills that you want for the team that you have, and then also choose what stats you want to increase for your team, I think is a brilliant way to enjoy the game. Which I think that's why I'm so intrigued into it, and I want to see what more the game has for me. Now do understand that as much as I've mentioned so much good about the game does have its own pain points. Like for instance, I didn't mention about the story. The story I think is the weakest part of the game because the writing isn't exactly the greatest. The frontal main story and some of the side stories, they're okay to read, but they're not exactly anything that's amazing. The UI in the game also isn't the cleanest to experience. As I said, it can be very confusing to know what you actually have to navigate in the game, and the amount of pop-ups that I get, especially those that tells me to buy packs, it's things that I kind of don't want to see. I get turned off by anything that has to do with money. But even so, there are also good features that I don't get to discuss enough in the game. Like the voice acting in the game, pretty good for what it is. The ease of handling the base, like the materials that you have to handle, nothing all too complicated. The character building is also very rewarding, and at the same time, the ability to interact with your characters, to get to know them even better, I think those are all wonderful as well. So I think to me, there is a lot of great things that makes this game a hidden gem, something that is worthwhile for you guys to try. So if you want to download the game, do remember that the download link is in the description below. I will still be experiencing this game for at least another month. We'll see if there's enough content that will make me love the game enough that I shall stay for it long term. So otherwise, let me know if you've tried the game, whether you're still into it, you're not into it, or you're gonna try this game because of this video. I want to hear all of your opinions towards Ash Echoes. I've been having a good time playing Ash Echoes, and I hope you guys had a good time watching this video as well. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye bye.